Are you listening? Damn. Yeah. Yeah.
Another episode of Trash Talk. I'm TJ O'Connor. With me, as always, Damian the Wolverine Hill. Trash Talk is joined tonight by the owner of Perfect Moves MMA, Lawrence Pearson. But first, Trash Talk is brought to you by our sponsors, Valhalla Combat Sports Incorporated, Ink Shrinks Tattoo, Origin Wellness CBD, Spartan Martial Arts, Striking Institute, James Clark Sports Psychology and Hypnosis Therapy, The Fighters, and my mom. Mr. Pearson, thanks for taking the time to join us. How are you doing today?
Hey, pretty good.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
Thanks for having me.
yeah. Well, thanks for joining us. I mean, I hopefully you had nothing better to do during this quarantine opportunity, and I mean, and we struck on the opportunity right away to get the interview with you. But to the fans that aren't familiar with you, could you give us a little bit of your background and the gym that you own and operate?
Okay. Yeah, my sister and I, and one of my close friends, we own Perfect Moves Martial Arts together. I've been doing martial arts 32 years. I have a fourth degree black belt in the Daggerberg blend of martial arts. I started off with Taekwondo, karate, Americanized karate, then Muay Thai boxing, and then moved into kickboxing. And guys have come to me for MMA, and we've been doing it a long time. Yeah. And our gym's been open 20 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That's crazy. I don't know what the average is, but I want to say it's something around like 4 or 5 years before gyms start to, I mean, especially martial arts gyms start to close down, but to be around 20 years, that's amazing. That's pretty sweet. I mean,
Thanks. The gym while being deployed to Hungary and Bosnia through my sister. I'd write curriculum so she could train the martial artists that we had. And she was still competing. I was competing over in Hungary, doing Shotokan karate over there because I wanted to stay busy. So no matter what type of stand-up fight it is, I love to do it.
hold on.
Yeah.
Hold on. You were running the gym competing while deployed?
Yeah.
Oh, what the hell? Okay, what type of experience was that like? I mean, and how were you able to reach back to your sister to get the curriculum and I guess get the progress reports from her and also continue with your training and uh being enlisted? I mean, wow.
Yeah, I worked 4 days on, 4 days off while I lived in Hungary. Sometimes I'd work night shift as a patrol, military policeman, and then sometimes on the gates. And I would sit there and just type away, making curriculum and game plans and sending it back to her. And there's internet, so this was all about 2002 when I lived in Hungary. I was there about 7 months or so, and I hooked up with one of our interpreters, and he was like, "Oh, you do karate, you know?" And I was like, "Yeah, something like that." So he was like, "You should compete in Shotokan." I was like, "I never competed in Shotokan." So he goes, "It's fine. They have low kick. They have all that." So I was like, "All right, let's do it." So the first tournament didn't go the way I'd liked it to be because it was kind of hard language barrier. And then I'd use him as my interpreter. So a couple weeks later, I started winning, racking up wins on the Shotokan scene, and people started knowing who I was in Hungary. And it was fun. And once a month, I'd go back and forth to Bosnia to do our combat escort missions. And I just kept training. I mean, I loved the whole aspect of fitness, martial arts. Every country I've been in, I've always trained the martial arts. Because when I was in Iraq, I got to spar the Shotokan national champion that they had in Iraq. And so that was really cool. Another experience of keeping up with training and just hooking up and training with people.
How does okay? Sorry, TJ. I just want to ask one last question before I want to give you an opportunity to ask a question, TJ. I know you have one, but how is the Shotokan tournament run?
It's kind of ran heavy. If you've seen like how the Japanese run theirs, also it's ran very much like that. It's full contact. They knock out there too. You know, you don't wear gloves. You wear like some of them had little gloves. Some of them had just tape your hands a little bit and put a mouthpiece in. Low kicks were part of it. You know, they break boards and stuff. So hey, you got to eat that low kick sometimes. And it was just part of the tournament. They score the points they score the points when it's really a hard hit, not where it's, stop every 15 seconds or so. Oh, okay, stop. Let's go point. No, it's where you're popping hard. Yeah.
Man.
Yeah, I mean, I can only imagine how much stuff you have on your plate while being actively deployed. But then on top of that, to be running a martial arts gym from the other side of the world, literally, and then competing. What were some of your friends and partners saying about this as you're doing this? I mean, they're with you doing the day to day, but when they might go home or take relax a little bit, and you're going to run a gym followed by having a tournament that weekend.
Yeah, we get 4 days on, 4 days off. Some people like to go to the club. Some people like to play video games, relax. I'd go right off into the city, go train, stay there a couple days, and come right back after the tournament. One time I sort of got knocked down pretty hard, and I didn't feel good for the whole week, but I still had to do my job, And I don't sleep much anyway, so even at a young age, I didn't sleep a lot. So it helped keep me focused instead of doing the wrong thing, too much partying, too much drinking. It was like, hey, I knew I had to stay in shape, had to lift weights, all that, because even at that time, I was competing in bodybuilding, not overseas, but I was prepping for my next show when I'd get back home. So I was making sure that I was staying in shape for bodybuilding, staying in shape for martial arts, everything. It's been like my whole life is fitness.
Oh my God. So I guess do you feel like all of it like kind of just circled around for you? Like, I mean, the fitness, bodybuilding, martial arts, all of it kind of translates into each other a little bit. And I guess, I mean, yeah, I don't know. Do you feel like that has been a benefit to you as a martial artist?
Yeah, it's definitely helped me endure, because being in time of war, when it was popping off when I was in Iraq, it helped me be disciplined, stay awake, stay alert, stay alive. Be an example, because I was a sergeant. I had my own troops that were watching me, like be that example. Wake up every morning, do your push-ups, your sit-ups, your run, your weightlifting. And I'd still practice my martial arts, because we got some guys that are from Milwaukee that actually train martial arts and stuff like that. So we stayed in shape doing that. But definitely it really helped me, because martial arts helps you face adversity too, and you figure out what you're made of, because I lost my career pretty fast. It really, still brings tears to my eyes, because I really like martial arts. At 27 years old, I ended up getting third in a national show for bodybuilding. 2 months later, I was doing a martial arts demonstration for some kids, and my kneecap popped off and my quadricep blew up. And I was trying to turn pro in bodybuilding. I was like, hey, I'm going to come back and fight again after a long layoff. And right then and there, lost my sponsorship like that, lost my body, lost everything. And then I was on bed rest for 2 months. And when I got back to work the very next day, my wife says, hey, you better start walking soon, because we're having a baby.
Oh my God.
So the martial arts prepared me to be mentally tough. The military prepared me to be mentally tough,
Yeah. Okay. So with all of that going on, I mean, what was going through your mind when you were going through your recovery and your wife is pregnant and all those other things that go along with your injury being out from, I guess, I'm guessing you had to take time off from the Army. I mean, you weren't.
I just got out of the Army about a year and a half from that time. And I felt like there was something wrong when I got out of the military, because I was like, I couldn't explain what it was. My body didn't feel right.
Yep.
Maybe it was overworked or something. It just didn't feel right. And so I look at that as a blessing that injury happened, because it really let me dig deep into my martial arts and also my bodybuilding, because although I lost my bodybuilding career, because I'd already done 16 shows already and then competed in martial arts since 1987. And so the thing was I was like I was 27 years old at the time, and I'm just like, man, I'm just going to be the best trainer I can be right now. So I started training guys, turning them pro in bodybuilding. turn guys pro in bodybuilding and also martial arts, having guys turn pro in kickboxing and MMA coming from our gym.
Man, that's amazing. I mean, you found a new passion. I mean, I guess I kind of can relate to that a little bit, finding a new direction on your way, thinking that you're going to be the world champion or I don't know exactly what you wanted to be in or what the pinnacle of bodybuilding and weightlifting is, but you know what I'm getting at, and then to find a whole new passion where, you collected all this knowledge throughout all these years and you can still share it. That's pretty amazing. And okay. So this was on my mind earlier when we were talking, and I don't want to get past it, but I feel like we already kind of changed subjects a few times. But when you were actively deployed, you were the military police, right?
Yes.
Okay. So what was that like? I mean, you had to be pretty aware of everything that was going on, I guess, I mean, I have nothing to relate it to except for movies, and I'm guessing that's probably the worst example I could probably,
Yeah, they don't portray us the same way. When you see military police, most people think that it's going to be waving at the gates and saying, "Welcome to the base, ma'am, sir," whatever. But we're combat military police. So we did the same job sometimes as the infantry guys did. We'd go and do house searches. We'd actually stop the cars. We'd protect the police stations. We've been in firefights. I've been in firefights protecting our police stations. A couple of our, Humvees in my platoon have been attacked, things like that. So it's definitely not like the movies portray MPs always just putting a billy club up and running people out of the clubs, which we did that in Hungary. Sometimes I have to go into clubs, drag people out, but we had such a multifaceted job that we had to be prepared for, where sometimes you get a guy that's too drunk. You see, sometimes there's guys that want to fight with you. A lot of times I didn't get into fights or had to break up too many, because when I walked in, it was like, hey, this is what's going to go down. This is what we want to do. And let's not have a problem.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so I didn't see the full documentary. It was a clip of a documentary, but it was on military police, actually, and you had just said that you were under fire at one of your police bases. It's like you're set up a police station in another country, and you're holding people from that country captive in that jail that you guys made. I don't think people are going to come try to get them.
No. What it was is when we went into Baghdad, our job was to reopen the police stations, rehire, retrain, and protect the police that were there, because some people wanted to kill the police, the Fedayeen, and also the insurgents wanted to kill the new police that we hired and did background checks on. They were trying to dissuade them from actually doing their protect and serve the community. So our job was to protect them, train them, and make sure that they're doing the job properly.
Wow.
Yeah, that's crazy. I have nothing to compare that to. That's a different world, and I thank you for doing it to keep everything normal. But just bringing it back here now, you get back, you go through that devastating injury, you get fully healthy. How did the transition into coaching more, and naturally coaching mixed martial arts more? When did that all start falling into play, and the team coming together at Perfect Moves?
Yeah, we had we ended up losing the first kind of gym, having to move it somewhere else when Gold's Gym closed in Madison, because I was contracted with them and owned my label by then. So we had people that said, hey, I want to compete. Well, MMA wasn't really popular at first. So we were like, okay, here, do some point fighting tournaments. So we went undefeated in point fighting tournaments for about 5 straight years. And then we had some guys that said, hey, you train Muay Thai boxing. And so I trained Muay Thai boxing under Masato Ishimura ever since I was 15 years old. And he was a world champion from Japan. And I was like, all right, guys, let's go compete in the Muay Thai boxing championships in Iowa. So we went down there with two fighters, and they didn't do as well as I was hoping. And that was a shot in the gut for me. I was like, oh crap, after doing the tournament style for so long, And then to go there and lose, I was like, oh my God, I got to go back to the drawing board. So we went back to the drawing board. And then the following year, one of our students got number 2 in the Muay Thai boxing championships, world championships, got number 2 in it. And our other 2 fighters did really well in it. And so then it started really blossoming. And then when we got back, one of the fighters that fought in the TBAs was like, hey, how about MMA? I was like, guys, I don't have a real ground game. But, I said, we'll see what we can do. So we went into the MMA at the Three River Throwdown out of Alaska, and our fighter was doing well, but then he ended up getting knocked out because back in the day in Minnesota, for amateurs, there's no knee to the head, and this is a Muay Thai boxer. He's about to, and there was actually no knees to the body actually for a while too. I remember in Minnesota.
Yeah.
And so our fighter clinched up and he loaded up to throw the knee, and we all yelled no knee because he had the guy flush. He was gonna pop him. And as soon as he retracted and didn't throw the knee, bam, he got knocked out. We're like, oh crap, And that was all right though. It once again another learning thing that we had to go through. We came back the following year and to the Three River, and we won all the fights. We won three that night, and that was the night that Alton kicked it off with his win. And then our other fighter named Eric had choked out a really good wrestler with a standing guillotine, and one of our other fighters won by decision. So it was a great night, and it started blossoming there. Guys started getting into it, and I started hiring people help out with the ground because I'm a stand-up artist. With having a background in stand-up, I was like, hey, we need guys with some stuff on the ground. And it worked out for a while, and it just seemed like we started getting some guys that were dedicated, and we had a lot of fighters come through, and we have fighters now in our gym that do MMA, and we have guys that do Muay Thai boxing and kickboxing, Dutch style.
Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, see it grow and to blossom into what it is. And I guess you mentioned it too, and it's one of those things that I can appreciate because I've called it out. Me and TJ, we've talked about it off camera multiple times for years and years and years, where guys don't actually know what they're talking about all of the time. Like, and like there's a guy that I know that's a black belt in Taekwondo. Great, no shot, not talking any shit, but he tries to teach jiu-jitsu also, and it's just like, dude, you don't know, and he's never taken a jiu-jitsu class. Like, you've at least brought in guys to show other people the ground game and work with people on the stand-up and recognize the fact that you're a stand-up guy. And then I'm guessing, I mean, along with our coach as well, because he was just purely a wrestler, picking up the jiu-jitsu as you're going along too, and it's just one of those things. I really appreciate coaches that see that and don't try to take advantage of people, I guess. I don't know. I'm
in your lane.
Yeah.
But my grandmother started the whole sort of example of martial arts for our family, and she was the first person to bring Helson Gracie to Wisconsin. My grandmother did. Okay. For my chief instructor, the person that taught me for 25 years, named Patrick Murphy, my grandmother was sending him down because I was too young. I was under 18, so she'd send him down to go train with Helson Gracie, and then he would come back, teach me some jiu-jitsu. And then Helson had asked if he could come up, or somehow that happened. And Helson Gracie came up and got to meet my whole family. I got to train with him for a while. He was up here a good little while, and but I still, gravitated towards a stand-up, and that's pretty much where it stayed at. But 13 years later, jumping forward from 27 to 40, I decided to come back to fighting, and I fought last year in Amsterdam because I wanted to have the biggest test, because I did some no holds barred and some kickboxing around here, but I wanted to really test myself at the highest level. The doctor said, hey, your knee is decent. It's going to be as good as it's going to get. So I was like, hey, I got to do it one more time. So I dropped down from 205 in November. I started dieting for my fight. So cut down from 205 to fight at 173, and went over and fought. Didn't go my way. I thought it was a kind of quick stoppage. I wasn't getting beat up. Like I thought I was gonna lose because I was like, man, this dude's 20 years old, man, and he was 10-0. But I was like, let's go, let's give it a run, you know. And I thought I had some more in the tank, which I think I still got a little bit. I still spar all my students to this day. I don't care who they are. Every once in a while, if Alton's in town, I spar him. I don't care. I'll spar anybody, you know, because I train. I train all the time, no matter what. I'm at the gym right now. I'm going to train in a little bit, you know. But that I'm a martial artist. I was a fighter, but I'm a martial artist where the only way that you can test yourself is continually training, because I go to Amsterdam usually 1 or 2 times per year, and I train at Mike Van Interzon's camp, and he's also taken me to Bert Kopp's, which is Gegard Mousasi's camp that he trains at, and been able to train with him, been able to train with multiple world champions over in Amsterdam. I just got back in February, actually, this past February. And so, you know, it's all about going hard. I'm like, till I can't do it anymore, then ride it out.
Dude, there's so many people in life that are all amazed by fighting, that all admire it and all that, but can never say that they did it. Win, lose, or draw, they can never say that they actually stepped in there and did it. And you did, and then taking the opportunity to go and do it after your knee, dude. Oh my God, the knee, the time off, the age, and I'm no disrespect, you know, when I say age, you know, but
that's all good.
Yeah, but that's just that's fucking inspiring. And then the fact that you're still in there training and always honing your skills, you know, I mean, it's like you said, a martial artist has to train and hone their skills every single day, and you're fucking doing it, man. Dude, I hope I'm on your level when I'm your age.
Man, I'm sure you'll definitely be past it. You're training all the aspects, and you're doing the right stuff, man. Definitely. One of the things I just tell young people is, you know, yes, it's cool to compete. Definitely test your skills. I don't push competition in my gym, but every person that has walked through this gym, whether they're a child or an adult, has said, man, I'm not here to compete. That's all right. Then they start seeing, oh, wait, that dude just came back with a belt. That dude just came back with this, and that. That very person that told me they're never going to compete is now competed in 9 fights, you know? So it's definitely, it's catchy. We're a small gym, by the way, because this isn't my full-time job either. And so I work during the day for a company called First Supply. I sell pipe for a living. And, you know, it's where I make every hour count, you know? And I try to tell the young people, no matter if you compete or not, make every hour count that you're training, that you're doing what you're doing to make yourself better. Definitely.
Man, after some of the stories you've said, I mean, have no doubt in my mind, you know how to make the hours and the day work between what you were doing and, you know, when you were deployed and now working. And I'm excited to see what comes, because every time I've seen a fighter from Perfect Moves, that they're good. I'm not saying this because you're on the phone or because we're talking to you here, but I mean the talent. When I go to a three river throwdown card, like you said, and when I see them, because that's more often than not when we see your guys compete. I mean, I know it's going to be a good fight whether I recognize the name or not. So kudos to you, because what you're doing is definitely working.
Oh yeah, and by the way, TJ is probably Kalen Hall's biggest fan.
Oh, cool. I just talked to him a couple days ago. Yeah, Kalen and I have a good relationship, and he's an awesome dude. Actually, all the guys that have trained here before, during, and after have all kept good relationships with me in the gym. And, you know, been watching you guys for a long time, and I'm very honored. Like I said before, when you text me before, I'm like, man, this is awesome, because I'm a coach, you know, I'm not a fighter. I don't know what's exciting about it, but hey, you know, it's, you know, gets the word of martial arts out, and that's exactly what I'm about. And we also have our own show now too, called Bushido 3. My wife and I started it because since I've been training in Holland for so many years now, it's like I wanted to give back, be a little bit different. Although I love MMA, you know, but my old student Josh Sterry that owns Chosen Few, you know, I wanted to do something different from what he's doing. So I decided, hey, maybe some of these guys that have wrestling backgrounds or haven't done a lot of striking, maybe they should do a pure kickboxing show, you know, to force them to work on that stand up. And so that's what we brought to Madison. That's where I live in Madison, Wisconsin. and every show that we've had so far has sold out. And so they start off kind of small. Now they're getting bigger, and we're moving on. Hopefully, after COVID-19 cools down, we can put another installment. And
Hell yeah, dude. Oh my God. See, okay, so we're definitely gonna have to have you back on.
Yeah.
That first and foremost. I mean, just get that out of the way right now. I mean, we've only scratched the surface because we've touched on a little bit of the backstory. It's so me and TJ have talked about it in previous videos before, where when you're trying to get to know somebody, it's so hard to do it in just 15, 20, and 30-minute interviews. That's not enough. It's not enough at all. And I mean, you've done a lot. You're coaching, you're running a gym, you're running a promotion. This is man, I'm at a loss right now. This is just amazing. And I mean, I guess you were saying that you just being a coach, this is one of those things where me and TJ, we love this part of it where we just get to sit and talk with the fighters, the coaches, anybody that's really involved in the MMA community, and just get to figure out everything. And then with opportunities like this with coaches and fighters, we record that shit and then we post it, and hopefully people like it. This is those things where I like, if whether it happened right now on Skype or at a fight and we're just sitting there talking for a few hours or something, I mean, this conversation was going to happen, and I'm glad that it did. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, no, this was great. I feel like the stories we shared here, Damien said it best. We definitely need a part 2. I feel like there's so much more to graze into. And you mentioned, the shows you're putting on. Be sure to definitely let us know once this is all over when the next one is, and we'll promote that till the lights turn off. As for the fans, I got cut myself off. Before we go, Lawrence, I always like to give an open platform just to whoever we're talking to, just to thank any teammates, sponsors, students in your case, anybody outside of the gym who you want to give a shout out to during the pandemic times. The floor is yours, sir.
Thank you. I'd like to first and foremost thank my parents, Herman and Joyce Pearson, for getting me into martial arts. My grandmother, Margaret Allison, for setting a great example about martial arts. My first instructor, Master Patrick Murphy, and my current kickboxing instructor, Mike Van Enerzon, and also my sponsors, Granzy Trio, and my sponsor, Own Brand, out of Amsterdam. Also, I just thank all those people. And First Supply also is one of my other sponsors. Although I work there, I'm also sponsored by them, and I really appreciate all the backing that people have given me for my bodybuilding career and my fighting career, and also teaching.
Man. Well, thank you. And I guess thank you everybody that supports Lawrence as well. And if you're watching, hit that like button, subscribe to Trash Talk with Damien and TJ. Don't be a hoe.